Hey guys, this is Crap Hunter and welcome back to World of Tanks. Woo! Now, in this episode, before I go on, nearly forgot about that. A little announcement, I will be away for a while. Oh dear. Yes, I will be away from World of Tanks and other games and uploads for about a week and a bit. From July the 15th, so that way people won't say, rather than me say in about 6 days time, then people will be like, why are you no upload? Or people getting confused. I'll just say on the date. Makes it easier. So on July 15th, I will be going up to the War and Peace Revival Show. And I will be enjoying the War and Peace Revival Show. It's a really fun show. I've been to the War and Peace show. But unfortunately, the hop farm up north went into administration. A whole bunch of bollocky stuff happened there. And now the show is in Folkestone. And it is set to be quite an awesome one in Kent, which is hotter. Oh joy. But no, I'm really looking forward to going, and I am immensely looking forward to doing some reenactment, because I'm a reenactor. Huzzah! It'll be my first one, so good luck to me. And yeah, so I will not be able to upload for about a week and a bit. So sorry guys, but opportunity strikes, I'm going for it. So yeah, thank you very much on that one, and I should be back within a week and a bit. So good luck there. And so, here is our review. We will be having a look at the Jagdpanzer IV. Now, I've been playing with this tank for a while, and I've used both of the top guns, and it is kind of an interesting tank. It's not... I'm not saying... I'm not going to have, like, a rant about it. I'm not going to go crazy. I don't know how I'll do this, but either way, I'm just going to... This tank is kind of a disappointment. I mean, I don't want to spoil it, and this tank is still usable. It's not like an immense failure. It's not immensely crap. It's a disappointment. And I will be explaining the reasons why I say this. It's not just going to be, okay, this is a disappointment. This has been crap. No, it's not like that at all. It's just it's not, in my opinion. Also, I'm going to highlight this before anybody else starts raging. Everything I say is how I have played this game, how I have done it, and how I see it. So there. This tank is a disappointment, and I will explain why. In the German tank destroyer tech tree, many of the tanks, despite their capabilities and despite the capabilities of other vehicles, have that practicality and reliability. For example, actually two examples. First off, the Hetzer. At tier 4, you can do a good amount of damage. You can annihilate most vehicles, and you have quite a decent set of armor. I mean, think about it. At tier 4, early tier 3s and some tier 4s will find it immensely difficult to shoot your frontal armor. I mean, 60 frontal armor in TD is actually very good. For most tanks in tier 3, well, for tier 4 at least, it's very good armor. It's not perfect by any means, but at the same time, it's not bad considering you've got quite an angled armor. I mean, if you look at the angling, that's pretty good. And especially on the gun mantler, that'll be very difficult to kill tanks with. You know? Obviously you've got an underglacier, so once you start showing your sides, you have about as much chance of survival as, well, as any person going into an American fat fryer store. You know, the heart cholesterol, just poof, gone. No chance. You know. Bang! Even as you're entering the barbecue stand, your heart just sees all the saturated fat, and it goes, "Fuck this! I'm dying!" and it explodes, killing you instantly. And it's kind of like that. Excuse the swearing. You know, it's so easily destroyed. And and I've seen many players make the mistakes. It's difficult to drive this tank effectively. I'm not going to deny that. Most players I've seen use the L28, which is a bit annoying in my opinion, but you know. We won't go into that territory again. I've gone into it enough times. But put it in this perspective. You can use this gun just as effectively. Reasons why? In a tier 9 match, I got a kill with this thing. The silence just tells me how freaking shocked you are. Oh yeah. Anyway, so yes. Even though this thing may not be put into its most favourable tiers, you can still make an effective match out of this thing. Exhibit B. The Sturg. Personally, one of my favourite tanks in the TD section thus far. You've got a good sense of speed, amazing traverse speed, and it's nimble. It's not slow, but it's not it's not so fast that you have suffer other problems. Okay, the armor is not very good considering that you're now entering into territory where you've got KV-1s, Churchills, you know, you've got the Crusader tanks, you've got the AT tanks, you know, which is at like 203 armor. You've got Mother Russia with her, you know, T-34s, Su-85s. Even China starts getting... Okay, maybe not. Even France starts getting a couple of decent tanks here and there. They are very few and far between, but, you know. And you also bump into German tanks like the Panzer IV, Panzer III-4, and if you're unlucky, you'll start seeing Tier 6 games. So, the Sturg, however badly placed, still makes an effective tank. Its L70 gun does the job. The only major disadvantages this thing ever has on the battlefield is its lack of ammunition capacity, and upon being shot in the lower glacis, your engine will completely die. Generally, whoever hits you from the side or frontal part, your tank will generally lose its engine, and it sucks immensely. But that said, I've had games where there's times where I haven't touched the tank in over 3 or 4 months. And I'll get into a match and completely rip everything. I'll have a damn good match. And that's just how it is. I've been able to work these two tanks effectively. You know? The Jagdpanzer IV, however, is not one of those tanks. It's not one of those things which is crazily good. I mean, it does the job, and it can do a job, but it's only in very specific locations. And that's where it becomes quite disappointing. Sorry, really hot in here. So, the Jagdpanzer IV. Well, let's look at the stats before we start having our own personal opinions. 600 hit points. Now that is a major boost from 350 off the beat. That is very good, considering that the improvement from the Hetzer to the Stug was like what? Well, look, it's only like what? 60? No. Sorry, brained out. 30. It's only 80. It's only 80 hit points more. Whereas with the Stug to the Jagdpanzer, it's a big noticeable difference. You know, 400. You know, 450. No, 5. Oh, for God's sake, I can't. My brain is failing me today. 350. Yeah, it's a significant upgrade. My brain is too hot and fried to think right now, but it's a significant difference. I'm probably going to spam you in like 5 minutes with what the numbers are. But yeah, anyway, so 600 hit points is a definite improvement. And you've got sloped armor, but we'll go into armor later. Weightage, 24 tons. Now that's with all the equipment attached and everything. So this is, you know, it's not bad. It's reasonably heavy. It's a hell of a lot more heavier than it's only not a hell of a lot. It's only like 4 tons more than the Stug. So, you know, it's definite improvement. It's a lot more, you know, it's a lot more it's a little bit more weight. The engine power wise, now the engine power doesn't actually change at all, which is a bit of a shame. And what makes this a little bit worse is, of course, the heavier you are, the slower you will be. And 38 kph is going to be your top speed. I am sorry. And unfortunately, this thing is a bit bigger than the Stug. The Stug is a little bit more nimble and a little bit more... It's just a nimble tank. This thing is not nimble. It's not. I'm sorry. It's just not nimble. And thus, its traverse speed is affected by this. It's not a terrible amount, but it's very much noticeable since if you've been rocking the world with a Stug, the Jagdpanzer and the Stug, I'm going to use these as kind of a reference to kind of seeing how bit of a disappointment this thing is. It's a noticeable difference, regretfully. 330 view range. Now let's have a look at the Stug. It's 20 up from the Stug, which is great. But let's have a little comparison with other tank destroyers of the same tierage. We'll go for the 88 last. The Chinese don't have any TD tanks. I'm surprised, really. I would have thought they'd introduce them by now, but whatever. The French, this is the worst tank destroyer, but does it have better view range? Yes! Shockingly enough, it is, but apparently and I say apparently because I have not confirmed it, this tank destroyer is one of the worst tank destroyers in the game. Well, it's not the worst tank destroyer in the game, and I'm looking at it now, it doesn't look that bad, but apparently this tank destroyer is very bad, either because of its poor armor, or anything. I don't know, it doesn't look that bad. I will be honest with you, it doesn't look bad. It's not great, but it's not bad. Americans. Ah, right, okay. Now there are two American tier 6 tanks destroyers, so let's see. The Hellcat, which is pretty darn good, 370. So that has a better view range than you. And the Jackson, how much view range does that thing have? 370 again, so it's better than you. Russia, the Su-100, the most deadly thing on the battlefield till you start seeing the tier 6 and 7s and the bit just before the Su-152. 350. Ah, still better than you. And of course let us not forget the 88, which is, what view range is it? 330. So the 330 is the same as you. And yeah. Okay, so view range wise this thing isn't very good. And radio wise, FUG 7. Okay, we'll do the comparisons again. We'll go back to the Su-100. Now the Su-100 has the R9M, which means you're at 525. That's automatically better than yours. It's like 115 more than you. Oh dear. The Americans, what do the Americans have? They have tier 10 radios. Shit! That's like 300 more, over 300 more. Shit! Okay, that's quite frightening. And I'm going to say the same for the American Jackson. Yeah. Ooh, no, the Jackson only gets a tier 9 radio, but that probably still doesn't make any odds. The British. Now, what do the British have? The British have a tier 8 radio, which is 550. So, it's another, 100 and whatsoever. The French, the ARL V39, it has a tier 9 radio as well, and it has a FUG 12 style radio. 710. That is quite a frightening aspect. And finally, I don't know, is it finally? Have I done all of them? Yes, I have. Ah, okay. So, yeah. Enemies have better view range and better signal range. And unfortunately, it gets a little bit worse. You'd think with all this hit points and slope, you'd think with all these hit points that you'd get a bit of an armor upgrade with the Jagdpanzer IV. No, you don't. It does have sloped armor, but it's only 80 at the front, 40 to the sides, 20 to the rear. And unfortunately, its sloping doesn't really do much for you. There is a bit of an underglaciers here, but it's not as noticeable as the Stug, so that's that's a smaller relief. Up here, it's sort of like a goal in a football match, whereas with here, it's like a little putting hole. It's still achievable, but you've just got to know where to aim. That said, most vehicles in tier 6 can pen you from the front anyhow, so it's kind of pointless bothering. And with this tank, of course, it means that the tactics have to be changed. You have to really be careful about this kind of thing. And yeah, I mean, this tank isn't terrible. It's not like you can still be effective in it, but you have to be very careful to find what kind of effectiveness you could be, And it has angle. It's got angle to the other side, but it's so pathetically small, it's easy just to shoot it and knock it out. And you will have problems. For weak spots, well, gunner's point there, you can get shot there. You'll also get shot here. More often than not, your engine gets knocked out. Obviously, anywhere on the sides and rear. Generally, the whole tank at point sometimes is a great weak spot, but generally speaking, the frontal parts here and there, and maybe even there. The lucky side, of course, is you aren't very easily spotted, but let's face it, it's not that, more often than not, that's less of a target than this. This is more of a target than anything, so unfortunately, if people have the ability to shoot at you, then you're already in a very bad position. And unfortunately, it doesn't get any better with the gun selection. Now, you do get a big gun selection, but it unfortunately isn't that good. You get guns from that were amazing at their Hetzer level. You get the L48 if you haven't researched the L70, but if you haven't researched the L70 on the Stug, then I should slap you. You have the option of going to a derp gun, so I'm probably not surprised. That said, though, I haven't actually seen any players use that gun. I don't think I've ever seen anyone use the L28 because it's kind of pointless. The gun of choice. Now, there's kind of a two-way opinion about it, and this kind of goes back to the German medium tank, the VK, whereas in Tier 6 you have the option of Germany to have either the L56 or the 75mm, either L70 or this new L58 Koenigsegg. And for me, I always find the 88mm does the job for me anyhow. But with the Jagdpanzer IV, the L56, which although does a good job, you rarely find yourself in a good circumstance where, you know, you despite the fact that you're a TD, you still suffer the same problem that the other tank has. But with the VK, you can maneuver a lot faster, and you can utilize. You can move a lot faster and utilize your medium tankness to completely and utterly annihilate your foe. You know, you can flank around him, you can get up for close shots, you can take a punch, whereas with this thing you can't take many punches. Although you only are like 250 health below, any tank that hits you, you feel it. You know, so there's the disadvantage. But if we have a little comparison to the two different guns, you'll spot a number of differences from the normal. Obviously, if you're used to the L70, you can spit out more than 15 rounds, and with the enhanced medium tank gun rammer and that, you're looking at about 16 to 17, maybe 16.5 at least rounds a minute, which is a definite improvement. You have 150 pen, which is no different to the other tank, which is actually about 18 better than the L56 on just on the beat. Of course, this does mean you don't get as much damage with only 135 on average, but you have a little bit more accuracy and the same aiming time. There is an advantage. You have the same aiming time, which is quite nice, and you have an increased rate of fire from the other VK. If you're used to the VK, then you'll definitely notice differences in this tank. And I thought for a while that the L56 was a fantastic gun, and I tried using this on this tank, and I thought it was kind of a letdown, and it was kind of crap, because a tank destroyer which doesn't have a good gun that can penetrate many vehicles is a very bad thing. If you're using, or put it in this perspective, if you're using the gun that a normal tank would use, the only difference being that you can spit them out a little bit faster, that isn't really what I would call an effective tank destroyer. An effective tank destroyer would be a tank which can utilize a gun which many other tanks lack, and be able to annihilate foes with a very good gun. For example, let me try and find a decent example that isn't German, because we will be going along that line. For example, I'm going to put the Russian tank destroyers. Now, although in Tier 7 you have the IS gun, which has the D25, which has 175 pen, 390 damage, blah 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 blah, you still have, not that one, but this one, the SU-152, and this, although has the same gun, has an immensely much better firing rate. And okay, bad example. I'll go Tier 8 because why not? You get, here you go, the ISU-152 at Tier 8 gets a gun which is twice as good as anything else, and its penetration and armor and alpha damage means that it presents a much more threatening position on the battlefield. This is the kind of tank destroyer you'd like, because it's something which destroys tanks. It, you know, can two-shot many vehicles at Tier 8. You know, there you go, good example. The BL9 has only 225 penetration on the top tier tank, and this tank isn't very highly tiered, but its gun more than makes up for that. And that is how it is for for some tank destroyers. For Ferdinand, for example, I will go to Germany actually. I thought I wouldn't, but I would. You get the L55 128mm at 246 pen and 490 damage. Ridiculous accuracy. Not so great aiming time, but that said, considering you've got a tank destroyer which is amazing, and if you have that gun, Jesus Christ. You know, at the Jagdpanzer with the L52, you've got 200mm worth of penetration, 320 damage, damn good aiming time, great accuracy. You know, that's fantastic. At tier 7, it's bloody brilliant because there is very few vehicles at tier 7 which have frontal armor which is 200. You know, and more often than not, you'll throw shots into the sides of vehicles, to the weak points. That is amazing. The Jagdpanzer has the same gun, however, the Jagdpanzer IV has the same gun as this. So it basically, you're like a VK3601H, only kind of crap, because this thing has 100 armor, whereas you only have 80. And whereas this thing can go at 40 miles or kph, you can only go 38. And obviously you've got, I think they've changed the turning traversity, so you can turn a little bit faster, which is why I'm surprised there. They used to be able to turn faster, but whatever. But you can see what kind of point I'm getting at. This tank is very disappointing to anyone, and it's going to be a slow and painful grind for a while. I mean, I'm lucky. I've got friends to play with. I mean, obviously you guys will have friends to play with as well. But to be honest, doing this on your own can be kind of a arduous task. So a recommendation for you guys is to try and hook up with a bunch of friends who all have tier 6 tanks and say, do you mind if I bring my Jagdpanzer IV along, because I need to train it up. And it would be a very good thing for them to say yes, because then that way you can kind of not notice as much how bad this thing is and how much you gotta go. I mean, I'm lucky and I've had a couple of good games, and so I'm actually getting up to the Jagdpanzer. But once I've elited this thing, I'm selling it. It's just not that good. But that said, it's not a complete and utter failure, because if you use the L70 more, you've got 150mm worth of pen. So you can penetrate and do damage to other tanks, but you've got to be a lot more aware about your surroundings, and you've got to be immensely careful not to get too close, otherwise you're going to end up dying really quickly. So, what are the equipment recommendations? Well, obviously, with a tank destroyer, you want to have improved ventilation, and of course you want to have a medium tank gun rammer. I mean, it just goes without saying. So goes without saying. Also, for me, because I can actually get it, a camouflage net, and you don't have to pay. So if you've got a camouflage net, which I used to have on the Hetzer, but then I got rid of it, demount it and put it on your other tank, and I will demount it, and I'll actually demount the other vehicle. I don't know if I can actually get it for the Jagdpanther. If not, I will just sell the stuff and put it towards getting a better gun rammer. But either way, but yeah, you know, camouflage net, medium tank gun rammer, and ventilation. For your crew skills, if you should so wish to keep this vehicle, which I don't really recommend, but if you like vehicles or you're a collector, by all means. Skills, definitely for your commander, who's also acting as your radio operator, before you can maybe put camouflage into effect, because the more you can hide this tank, the more you'll survive. One of the perks, of course, I might start needing to list perks before you get too frustrated and angry and negative with this video, is that this thing has is very low to the ground. You can tell by the gun depression here. If you can see where the gun is there, and then you can note how low the gun is there, you're talking about, in game terms, about a foot's worth of depth. And if it's possible, I mean, if you compare it to the Jagdpanther, so that tank. And let me just go to all. Now we'll just go to all nations and let's go to an equivalent tank which you might face on the field. The IS is quite big, and in comparison, you are quite tiny. So there are possibilities that you could, if you know how to do it, to use your size to your advantage and throw shots in whilst the enemy tries to back up and get a shot at you. So that's a little advantage. But yeah, with the commander, camouflage, so that way you're not spotted. Then once you've done that, Sixth Sense, automatically. Because if you know when you're spotted, you can get out of there and you can survive. For the gunner, once again, you might either want to go with repairs or camouflage. Then go to Deadeye, because then that way you'll be able to survive. Don't bother about snapshot, you won't need to worry. Then go back to repairs, then probably go designated target, so that way you won't lose the enemy as often. And I can imagine that's probably a handy thing. For driver, definitely don't have anything on camouflage. Go to clutch braking, because the ability to turn fast to react to situations is an immense handiness, which I love about that skill. You can turn fast and increase your traverse speed. Who wouldn't want that? Finally, with a loader, you'll probably want to have repairs and camouflage. Probably camouflage more or repairs. It's up to you on that one. Then maybe, well, the likelihood of you being ammo racked is kind of less, but maybe just focus on repairs and camouflage, then maybe firefighting in case your engine catches alight. So this tank, on a personal opinion, is not a tank I personally like a lot. It's a useful tank, it survives, and it does the job, but it's not something I personally thoroughly enjoy. I mean, you know, there are people who can kick ass and take names out there with this thing. I'm impressed. You've really spent your time with this tank, so I'm imagining you've got yourself into a rhythm with it. But for me, this tank lacks the variety and practicality, or the ability that the Stug or the Hetzer produces. Because literally, I can go into a match with a Stug, and I'm like halfway down the ranking, but I can still make an amazing impact to the game. Whereas with the Jagdpanzer, I'm a lot more aware about the fact that this thing is a lot more likely to blow up and die than help out, so you know, who knows. But let's get into a match, because then you guys can see what I mean. If I have a good match, then that's one of those rare circumstances. I've been playing a lot with... Oh, okay, this is a very good matchup for the tank. Oh, yeah, when it comes to matching up, hopefully I will be put into it. Yes, it's going to go few. But yes, like I was saying, when it comes to being tiered, you won't be tiered very well, I would say. More often than not, I think you're put probably on the bottom half of the tier. Now, this doesn't mean that this tank is crap in any way, but it just means that you're going to have to work extra hard not to screw up. On this occasion, we are put into a very much favourable scenario, but that said, I can still die really easy. Every tank can annihilate me, even the Panzer III. If it has a howitzer, I mean. If it doesn't, then the weakest tank in this game is apparently the Combinator, but I don't know. I wouldn't say the Valentine is the lower, because the Valentine has access to the 75mm, the 6-pounder and everything, and that makes that tank so much more effective. One of the major perks, of course, one of the few other major perks about this tank is the ammunition increase. The ammunition capacity of this tank. I can have 62 shells, and that will make it work a lot better. Hell of a lot better than the other tank, which is the Stug. Yes, I remember that tank. It works a lot better than the Stug, and it also means that I can have a little bit more fun with it. You know, at least I know I don't have to worry about running out of ammunition. If I go quiet, that's because I'm trying to focus. So, right, who's going to be here? Someone's got to be here. The Sal 40 is making a move. We have a KV-1S, which is unupgraded turret, but is using a dirt gun. Using that camo net to my advantage. Now, I don't want to go into the town, because I know I will probably end up dying really quickly. But then that said, you've also got to keep aware of your surroundings, and you've already locked Star Electo. No. There aren't many vehicles covering the left-hand side, but it isn't as much of a problem, because, shockingly, this is not a oh dear, oh dear. Right, okay, so there is a fully upgraded enemy tank. There is a Combinator who I think is out of... He's exposing... No, he's actually kind of being clever. He's taking cover behind the rocks, but he's falling back. Withdrawing, and I've missed. And Schütze. Bang! There's a kill. 87 damage. Not bad. Okay, so we're currently capping at the moment, but there is a KV-1S up there, and our lower tier tanks are obviously a little bit worried, because most of them can die. A Lee destroyed a T-28. I think, to be honest, tit for tat, the Lee and the M28 are almost equal in their senses because both can easily be destroyed, but both have a not bad selection of guns. I think the T-28 comes out just a bit on top for that, for the 57mm, because at least it has a lot more penetration, a lot more firepower, and it just kicks ass a little bit more. Just my own personal preference once again. So, okay, on this occasion I have a feeling that we're probably going to have to end up going into the fray and doing a little bit more, getting a little bit more closer for comfort. Right, swing around. And he's gone. That was a pretty good that was a pretty damn good shot there. I think I was probably assisted by that T-40. Okay, so try and flank around it. I do not want to be caught by that KV-1S though. We do have the advantage, but unfortunately our left flank has completely folded. So I've got to be extremely careful now, because I'm furthest on the field. Technically I'm the highest tank ranking vehicle. Well, the VK, which is... Oh, snap, I should be paying attention, shouldn't I? Right, there is the KV-1S. I want to try and sneak a couple of shots before he lines up on my sight, so I've got to be immensely careful that he's not. Okay, there he is. On the rear. Bang! Solid hit to the back there. And there is a T-40. Back up, back up, back up, back up, back up, back up. Slowly reversing. The Panzer IV is a determined little sod, but I have a fear that he's probably not good. Right, now he's fired. I've got a few more seconds to shoot. So... Right, hit his armour, so he's now within one-shot range for most vehicles. There is a T-40 coming, and there is another set of tanks coming. I gotta be careful now. I could totally die. And he's fired! Right, he's cocked up. And for the kill shot. Bang, he's gone. Right, swing around. Swing round, swing round. Nope, getting trapped by your own allied's corpse. Right, hit the gun. Ah, right, there you go. Major disadvantage. That guy caught us right on the shot there, and he's buggering up my tanks. And I could die right now. Oh, come on. Come on, seriously. Get in the fight and help me take out that tank. I can't move. Seriously, mate. Ah. Really? Seriously, I mean, I was on a roll as well. I should have probably focused on fixing my treads than my gun, but the gun is kind of important. Oh, that stupid Valentine player. I mean, it's not much to just nudge forward a bit. What are you doing? Okay, that was a good match, which unfortunately fell apart because of our very poor teammates. But that said, you could kind of see when you're on a roll, you're on a roll. But, oh, that is immensely gutting. A good victory. We could have won that. But we didn't, which is a shame. Really shitty Valentine player. I'm sorry, mate. You sucked. That was a bit bad. Really bad. Okay, so unfortunately, we were going well, but unfortunately, I probably should have just clicked on the Valent. I should have not relied on my teammate and instead focused a bit more on my own tracks. I thought the guy, because the guy was right there, and I'm like thinking, come on, mate, you can save my ass. You know, I would have taken the opportunity, but I guess not. Anyway, what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut recording, and when my tank comes back, we will continue recording and continue with the second battle. Probably not in as much favourable tiering. So, there you go. Unfortunately, that battle was not meant to be. The VK340H did a good job. Unfortunately, the rest of the team are below... Well, okay, a fair amount of these guys did what they could, but boo to that Valentine player. No personal digs, but when a teammate is next to you, I'll be honest with you, a little personal thing here. When you're working with someone, you kind of expect them to work with you. I know it's a stupid thing to rely on someone that you've only just met, but working together in a game that requires teamwork is kind of what I think was what I would prefer, but we'll just pretend that man doesn't exist. We're fine. Anyway, so unfortunately that was pretty much probably my best tierage ever. What other tanks are we going to be in like? And here's the more likely tiering. Oh boy, we're screwed. Now, okay, we're in a very much unfavourable position at the moment. However, we can do something. It's not going to be much, mind, but it could be something. So we're currently in Shire, which is very much a TD playground. Now, to be honest, I'm not... I prefer being a heavy tank now. I've been starting to get really into my heavy tank tactics. But, as I'm in a TD, I need to try... I probably will end up having to go to the camp spot, as I used to go to a lot. I mean, you know, as I'm a TD, I suppose no one will mind. I'm just gonna get a comment section saying, "You freaking camping bastard! I hate you! Unsubscribed!" and all that crap. Oh shit! Sandwiched. Ooh, T150 with that doesn't have the gun. Intriguing. That's a KV3 as well. And a D25 IS, which does have the gun that's going up to the camping zone. Not a good place. I mean, it's got a good gun, and it does the job, but it's not recommended. Oh god, the SU-100Y has bigger balls than I do at the moment. That's embarrassing. Ha! Got up here first. That said, this thing is not meant for major engagements, so I'm not going to feel the temptation to head down south. Right, so now we wait. Not what I would call the greatest of tactics, but considering I'm in a very shite TD... Well, no, not a very shite. Considering I'm in a TD which cannot take a punishment, it's a good idea to do so. And long-range shooting. It is possible, depending on what vehicle you're shooting at. Oops. Well, that hit the target. Oh, god damn it. And we've lost our SU-100Y. Okay, I'm going to kind of just stick here and... Okay. I'm kind of glad I didn't go left, because all the decent tanks are heading down south. And our IS should really be over there, because he's the top tier tank. And he could do so much better. But whatever. You can play TD with the IS, but preferably in battle situations like this, if I was in the IS, I would be heading down left to try and help out my teammates. Right. There is a tank. I will shut up because I need to start shooting. Oh, good shot. Whoever did that. Churchill 7 is trying to make a... Oopsie! Bang! That's a critical hit, but nothing. Oh no, I got his treads. Bang. Nope, he used a repair kit. Right, and... Oopsie! Oh, so close. And he gets destroyed! Right, okay, so the enemy forces... We are actually pushing quite effectively on the left-hand side. Right, let's start pushing then, because if we got the right-hand flank, we could pressure. There we go. Gun elevation for this thing as well is actually quite good. KV-1S showing its rear side. Don't do that. Oh, I'm taking fire. Oh, he's taken a lot of fire. I could get a kill from this. Bang! No, I could not. Dang! Okay, so we need to get a little bit closer before we can... Right, okay, so there's the T-43. Hellcat and Hummel. Hummel better start moving. Hummler. Hummel move. Right, there is another set of tanks. And my gun depression fails me. Yeah, this is one of the disadvantages of having such a low tank elevation in tank, which is your gun depression is a hell of a lot more noticeable should you require a decent one. So you need to reverse all the way back here before you can have a decent set. But that said, we can try and put... Alright, there's a T-43 coming around the flank. There's a KV-1S. I can't... Another disadvantage is your traversity for your your gun like angling. Ooh, good shot. Well, that probably isn't all me, but right, we're closing in on another decent shot. There is a T-43 in the town, but I'm more concerned about this KV-1S as he has the gun. And Bobski, kill. There's a kill. Oh shit, there's an SU-152. Kill the SU-152, please, mother of God. Requesting fire. Bang. Nice solid hit. He can one-shot me. He probably is aiming at me. Right, ow. Right now. Right. Oh, that was... Go, I'm down. Hopefully I didn't use my thing. Okay, so unfortunately I probably should have moved. We were doing so well as well. Oh, the IS is doing a good job. But, yeah, I should have moved maybe. But, considering that there isn't really much places for my tank to have gone, either would have been eventually surrounded by that T-43 or the other T-43, and we did an effective shot, we got a kill, but unfortunately this game was not meant to be. So, well, okay, once again, I've got to get a decent game going, otherwise it's going to be kind of embarrassing. I think there is a good game, but it might be a replay. So we'll record once we either have a good game, well, if we're having a good game, or I find a replay. Either way. I want to have at least one victory, so you guys aren't depressed about this tank, because too much negativity causes suicide, which is bad. So, see you then. And we're back. So, this is potentially going to be one where we win, or one where we lose, and I end up having to get a replay. Either way, fingers crossed I don't have to get a replay. Yeah, this is the thing about the Jagdpanzer IV, is that you can... I mean, it's not like every match you will lose. I've had good matches already, but unfortunately with this thing it's difficult to have a good match in. Once again, the reliance on your teammates to help you is something which is difficult some days to achieve. That, or you have just really bad games. I don't know. I don't know how you would look at it. You either blame your teammates or just blame your luck. Either way. Because you can do very well. That's the thing. And a fair amount of people are going to the Magic Forest, a few of them being heavies, which is not really reassuring. But we've got a KV-1S, an IS, an M41. An M41 is going to join us in the fray. Now I think we've also got, you got a T-29, which is good. We'll need some hull down. They've only got one T-29, whereas we've only got one T-29. We have an SU-152 though. I would love one of those tanks though. It does look so good. I mean, their SU-100 looks quite impressive as well, but their SU-152, the ISU-152 I hear is absolutely legendary. But anyway, enough about that tank, it's about this one. Right, there's the 2801. Oh, he's on fire, and he is dead. The M41 knocked that guy out. The T-29 player, unfortunately, is being swamped a little bit. We are having contacts on the right side. We have pressed all the way through to the other side, and for some reason those guys over on our right are completely oops, contact. Right, let's just focus on this end of it. That guy hasn't got the gun, he's got a derp gun. I hit your tracks. Ha ha ha. He hasn't spotted me yet. Now he has. He's probably going to pop a shot. Bang. And the Chaffee tank will finish him off. Bang, he is sorted. Right, the enemy are majorly pushing on the right hand side. Can I pop a shot in to knock out that guy? No, can I pop a shot in to shoot at the KV-1S that doesn't have an upgrade? Okay, he's got a shot in. Right. Oopski. No, back up. Well, for a second there I was a bit worried that our team on that side wouldn't come in to assist. But it turns out that we've actually got quite a decent matchup so far. I haven't taken any damage yet, but that doesn't mean anything good. That just means no one spotted me and decided to shoot. Salt. Touch word. Okay, I'm going to wait until backup arrives because I'm in a very good position at the moment because no one's really detected me, but I do not want to start going out and trying to push. So I did think I just saw a tree move. Right. Yes, I did see him. Right, he's fired. Ah, right. There is another disadvantage about this low vehicle. Ah, shit. I knew I shouldn't have advanced. Ah, fudge puddles. Right, back up, back up, back up, back up. Oh, it was a ricochet. Lucky ricochet. Right, back up. Yeah, like I said, there you go. Frontal armor, not very good. And the tank's depression in the battlefield means that more often than not, going downhill to engage something means it's going to be twice as hard. This is very frustrating, especially for a tank which is oh shit. Right, let's try and go for that T-150. So, pop a shot. He's taken a shot. Try and get another one before he falls back. Bang! No chance. Back away, back away, back away. Ah, shit, T-43. Okay, he's got a shot on me, so I need to back away. That was immensely lucky. That guy was able to knacker my vision port, but since we've got loads of tanks already, that's alright. So now I'm unfortunately in a crippling position where I can't really do much for fear of death. Right, moving. And this is the reason why I find it difficult to work with this tank. I mean, you know, my crew are virtually at 100%, so they're all operating at the... But it is... You got to go so close to these guys. And the whole point of a TD is you're meant to go away, but in this situation, I've got to literally go over the hill and die before I can actually get a decent shot in. Any one of these tanks can completely annihilate me. just got to find the right ones. Right, pop a shot for a kill. Pop a shot. Bang! I missed. I'm dead. No, I'm not. I live! Right, we're all going for it. Can I go for the kill? No, I cannot. Good game. We won! Yes! Okay, so there you go. And that was a good match. We did a fair amount of damage. We buggered up a number of their vehicles. Haha, knocked your engine out. I killed a driver. That's nice. Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. This isn't like the definitive you will lose 2 out of 3 battles. But what you will find is that this tank is a hell of a lot harder to work with than, say, a Stug or a Hetzer. Which is why I'd say this is what I would call the inbetweener, really. This is the tank which isn't as good as a Jagdpanzer, but is better than a Stug, but it's not that much better. You know, there are parts with which the Stug triumphs over the Jagdpanzer, but then there are points in which the Jagdpanzer triumphs over the Stug. It's one of those things, to be honest, even in... The only thing really that goes for this tank, I suppose, is its low position to the ground. So in some cases, you'll find that your position on the ground means that you're a much easier... Sorry, you're a little bit harder to shoot at, which is, you know, true. You have better camouflage rating, which is true. And also, you have more armor and health. But that's pretty much it. The Stug, in my opinion, is still by far the greatest tank. Well, my favourite tank destroyer. I'm probably going to find a better one soon, which is kind of a bit sad to say, but at tier 5 this thing is amazing. It's basically, it fills all my quotas, and it set the standard for how to be a TD driver. But that said, you know, you can't have it all your own way, and I know for a fact at some point, sadly, this girl will probably there'll probably be a tank which will be better than this girl. But this girl has done me an immensely great service, and she'll continue to provide a great service. But for this thing, however, it's a good tank, it does the job, but it's not what I would highly recommend as a good tank. It's one of those you got to just grind through it, grit your teeth at least, and grind through. Then when you finally reach the Jagdpanzer, you can smile and go, thank God, I no longer have to worry. It is that. It's not bad, but it'll do. It's not bad, but it is not good enough, in my opinion. But that said, everyone has their own style of tank. Some people find that this tank is very good. You know, depending on their skills and sets, what they try with it, how they play it, all that jazz. But in my opinion, I think that this tank you just need to, you know, it's one of those things you got to be extremely careful to use, because in most scenarios like that close-up, you don't have the ability to, you know, get out of a situation very easily, and that 600 hit points will probably be the only saving grace at times. But apart from that, this thing does the job, but just not very effectively. So that's about it for this episode. So thank you very much for watching. Hope you have enjoyed. Hope you found it informative. If you like my kind of commentary and my kind of videos, then feel free to let me know by commentating, liking, and most importantly, subscribing. These little things make the happy fun machine go even happier, and it stops it from becoming depressed. So, yes, if you like this kind of stuff, feedback as well. If I'm rambling on too much, or if I don't go into enough details here and there, you know, things like that. If you're an experienced Jagdpanzer IV player and you know a few tactics that make this thing work better than I can work with it, then feel free to let me know on that one. Generally speaking, that's, you know, on that part. As I said before at the beginning of the video, I will be away on July 15th. Going up to the War and Peace Revival show, so if you guys didn't hear the first part, feel free to let you know. That's what's going to be happening for a week, so I won't be able to upload. I will spam this message in a couple of my other videos, just so you guys can hear. But apart from that, thank you very much for watching. This is Crap Hunter signing out. Catch you on the battlefield, guys. See you.